I welcome the lovely ladies, and my name is Jahnavi Katti, and I'm a storyteller and coach. My company name is KeyKonnecct, and to begin this whole topic of today, which is so very interesting, learn how to put your best foot forward with an impressive online identity, which is so very close to my heart, and I'm really very grateful to Jobs for her for giving me this opportunity. Uh, so I just wanted to make a quick introduction about myself before I take up questions, and I'm really looking forward to questions from you ladies, and I have my questions popping up here. So please keep asking the questions, and I'll try to do my best by answering everything and keeping track of the time as well. We have just 30 minutes. And to begin with, as I told you about my right now, what I call myself storyteller and coach. And but I have a background of 2 decades of experience as a soft skills trainer and a leadership trainer, as well as a mindful leadership coach, having taken my certifications from International Coach Academy as a mindful leadership coach, and as well as having done my mindfulness program in MIT Medical School from Boston. And that was an in-house program which I went and did there because that was very close to my heart. So the topics that are very close to my heart is mindset and mindfulness and coaching, of course. And I feel this is something which I won't call just a job and just a kind of a 9 to 5, something to just fill up my time or earn money, but I would say it's my calling and it's my purpose. And but let me also tell you my story, which is pretty interesting. I feel I would like to make it interesting for you ladies. So over the period of time, as I said, I have 2 decades of experience. The past 4 to 5 years have been pretty tough for me because I have a family and I've got 2 grown-up daughters who are both based in US, and I've got 3 granddaughters. And so during my trips, which were very often happening every year during the last 4 to 5 years, and also because of the various conferences that I was attending, the women conferences, and so many kind of different distractions that were happening in my life, and also mainly, let me put it very clearly, the trends that were happening in the industry, especially in the training and coaching, the learning and development. Learning was all becoming very bit-sized, micro learning, and online. Everything was becoming e-learning, and I saw these trends happening. And then you wouldn't believe, like I had vendors, though I have my company called KeyKonnecct, and I developed a bit of my business. I had vendors coming up to my doorstep and making payments. It's pretty unbelievable, but that was a trend a decade ago, maybe more than a decade ago. But as I said of late, there was a dip in the business. There was no business, and I had a tough time. And being the woman that I am, I would never give up. And then I wanted to explore and find out ways of what could I do in that situation. And I think most of you also are then. So it was like almost taking a break, but it was not a volunteer break from my side. I didn't want to take a break. I wanted to work, even if it is nighttime in the US. I was trying to coach people on Skype and on Zoom. But things didn't work out that way because, of course, the physical presence is so important. But more than that, I would say the trend changed. That's the main reason. The trend changed. Everything has become online now. So I am in the process. I became a freedompreneur. I became a freedompreneur. So a lot of you would know what a freedompreneur is, but for the ones who do not know what a freedompreneur is a person basically who's not trading the time for money, but then looking for more a lifestyle of freedom where you can work from home or any part of the world, and also have your own area of passion or skill sets. Everybody is an expert, I believe, in one or the other area of in some area you are an expert. You wouldn't feel at a moment, but then as the discussion goes and as this chat goes, I'm sure I'm going to also answer the questions. Each one of us is an expert in some or the other field, and I also feel that similarly. So I said, let me take all my training and coaching programs and bring them online. So I'm in that process. I have already started, I am actually now enabling or facilitating the process of other women like you becoming freedompreneurs, bringing your skill sets and your, area of passion or what you love to do into an online course, and then having the freedom and the lifestyle to do what you love to do. So it's like you don't have to be there 9 to 5. You can just do it for once, and it is just a kind of a passive income. You can keep earning, because everybody nowadays, I would say the amount of online business, the e-learning market is 40,000 crores in 2020. Can you imagine it? And having said that, we have in India 65% is all millennials who are consuming. Every one of us is on the mobile. We are all on mobiles. We're consuming data. We are learning. We go to YouTube. We just type in Google. We find out something we want. We go to YouTube. We learn. And we want something. We just go and find out the solution from our mobile handsets. So that means that more of learning is happening on the go, on the fly, and it's all bit size. The attention span is so less. People cannot sit for long hours, for 8 hours, and in a classroom setting, and then take that kind of, which was there present a decade ago, a couple of decades ago. Now everything has changed. So having said that about myself and about my background, I hope it made sense to you. I would like to take your questions, and let me read out the first question, which was already posted yesterday. I saw. I'm so thankful to Nisha, who says, hi, I am a returnee. Everyone keeps saying you wouldn't get a job with a gap in your resume, or your resume says so little about yourself, or your resume is too big, or your resume has no value without certifications, etc., etc. And my question is, how can I build a resume where I am a returnee? How do I answer the questions about my career break? So a lot of things put together, Nisha. Let me answer them one by one. And hope I was audible. Put my earphones. So I am a returnee. Everyone keeps saying you wouldn't get a job with a gap in your resume, or your resume says so little about yourself. Now, Nisha, I would like to make it very clear in the outset that you don't have to make it a very generic statement. Everyone, I mean, I'm not being judgmental, but then I'm just trying to give you the tip that one need not become so very obsessed about what everyone says. Each one of us will have an opinion about what you should be doing, or what is the right way to do things. So get that very clear. I think we all need to get that very clear in the outset. And then you have this gap in your resume, and or your resume says so little about you or so much about you. So yeah, of course. And I'll take that up a little later, but let me talk first about your certifications. There is no value without certifications. And how can I build a resume when I'm a returnee? Of course, these are all things that keep coming to our mind, definitely. So I can give you my example. I mean, when I talked about my own story, when I told my story that when I was going on to the on-site, I was on-site going and helping the IT techies, senior managers in corporates and senior leaders. It was something very different. I would go there and then stand in front of a crowd, and then I would facilitate those training and coaching programs, whether it's 8 hours or 1 hour. But having said that, now when I moved on from offline to online, it was something which it happened not overnight. The things don't happen. Try to relate to your own situation. How do you fill that resume? It doesn't happen overnight. So it takes time, and you need to actually become aware that first of all, you don't have to have those guilt trips, that what people are talking and saying and what their opinion is about you, or in general. People do have opinions, but then you need to figure out for yourself. First of all, don't have the guilt trips. Secondly, see to it that in this situation that you are in, what best you can do to make that transition from being a employee to now where you are at home, and that gap that you see. So instead of looking at that gap and trying to fill that gap, see how whatever you have, that experience and that knowledge and the skills, there's nothing goes for a toss. And over a period, what could you have done or you can do right away to build some skill sets. So I hope I'm making sense to you. So there's nothing like, going into those guilt trips and talking about other people, what they think. It doesn't matter at all. It doesn't make any sense. I hope I made sense over there. And then those certifications. So your resume has no value without certifications. Yeah, to a certain extent, many people go that route and try to get certified. But again, how much useful it is going to be in real time, because when you go back and when you really go and try to find a job, so are you going to actually use those skill sets which you have been certified for? And how does it resonate with you? There are three things, let me put it very clearly. One is very clearly, what is your background, what is your skill set, and what is it that you have experience in, right? That is something like a foundation. The second thing is, what do you love to do? What do you feel is your purpose? Or if that is too high for you, maybe where do you feel you can actually go and contribute? Where do you feel in getting inspiration from? What kind of a role are you looking for? Just don't look at the degree and the qualification and the designation, but then you look at how can you add value to that role, right? For example, if it's just a marketing manager, it's not just going and delivering that, whatever needs to be done. How can you be that person who stands out as a marketing manager? I hope I'm making that point. And then the third thing is, of course, the need of the hour, where the market demand, that's the trickiest thing. So when these three things get to a kind of a synergy, that is when things fall in place. But it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, and you need to keep persisting, and you need to build those skill sets. You need to have that kind of you have to develop the bandwidth to learn more things, add some tools and certifications to your kitty. So you need to have certain certification, but then make sure that that also makes sense to you, not just go and get certified because everybody is thinking this is the done thing. So, but again, to answer your question more clearly, how do I answer these questions about my career break, finally? So don't go with the mindset that you are a returnee. So then, you are going to be in that victim mode of people. The employers are going to ask you questions about the gap. So go with an empowered state of mind where you are actually having, you're going and giving them the interview in a way that you are going to contribute to the role that they are going to offer you. So you have to be ready to answer the questions in such a way that not about the career break. Don't focus on the career break. If there are questions, you can always say the valid reasons why you took a career break, but then you don't have to even mention that period. You just, example, if you had a career break from 2016 to 18, just have whatever you have on your resume up to 2016 and then 2019 onwards. You don't have to show that career break as such per se. Hope I made sense. So moving on, I have a lot of questions coming up. Vasudha asking, hi Jahnavi, I'm looking for opportunities in finance and have 14 years of experience with 2 years break for upskill and family priority. And although I best utilized my break for upskill, it's not filling my resume. It's still treated as a break in career. How do I handle and so I get the roles in finance? Now, again, Vasudha, I think the same thing goes what I told Nisha, that you have a great experience of 14 years and then Yes, things have changed. There is always a dynamic situation. There are so many things. And then you have taken the career break for 2 years where you have upskilled. You had, what I am understanding is you had certain certifications or some kind of a skilling you have done in that period. So, but then, it is treated as a career break. So how do I handle to get the roles in finance? So it's all about, in that break, what have you done? You would definitely have done certain things that would have added value to your resume, which probably you're not in a situation or the mindset to acknowledge that or put it in a proper or structured manner so that it looks like something on your resume. So many a time, how you make a resume also matters a lot. The way you create your resume, and like, is it just in bullet points and it's very too crisp and too kind of, only the data is given and there is no kind of a statement made about what is it that is your mission for doing that kind of a role. So the focus of the person who's reading is, let me tell you, it's very, very short, and attention is short. And even when they have selected you, probably the way you have showcased your resume is how you're going to get questioned, or you're being interviewed. So you should always make it a point that this whole today's this the topic, put your best foot forward. That's so important, right? So what does it mean? How do you put your best foot forward with an impressive online identity? Let me come to that, so that I can answer both your questions, both Vasudha's and Nisha's. So it means, by putting your best foot forward means really, so embarking on this journey of career or whatever it is that you're looking for, putting your best foot forward with a purpose, with a gusto, with a kind of energy, or making a bold start. So your whole mindset, it's a mindset game. The way you are going to present yourself, not in the interview, even before the interview, to your own self. How are you standing in your own power? Are you feeling powerful, or are you feeling disempowered? Because your focus is on, people are going to ask me, the employees are going to ask me, and then how do I handle this? How do I handle that it is treated as a break? Yes, it's a break. So what? It's a break, and then things happen, breaks happen, and then it's a very normal process. But then you need to become very comfortable in your own skin and accept that you took a break for a valid reason, for a purpose which is most important for you. Maybe it's motherhood, maybe it's a transition from one country to another. Whatever the reason, you have made the decision, and you need to honor your own decision first of all, and stand in power, and stand in your own power. And that is when you're going to put your best foot forward, because the whole focus I'm bringing to the topic, so it's not just going and filling your resume and then going and giving the interview. You would be giving n number of interviews and maybe not cracking, understand the whole basics of how you're going to face the interview, right? How do you handle? And that's the question. The question is, getting answered by these whatever I could share, the nuggets, that you need to actually go put the best foot forward, not go with anxiety, not go with that trepidation that you will be kind of don't go on the wrong footing and saying making mistake of talking about your breaks, and take it in your stance that, yeah, that was for a valid reason, and I am looking forward to contribute to this role. And in that break, I could do these kinds of upskilling, and these are the kinds of things that I have added value. So you have to showcase all that in your resume. Now let me take the next question. Divya asks, I am a content writer. Can I start my own blog and monetize it? Of course, Divya, you can. There are lots of ways of doing it nowadays. It's like the in thing. And you also have asked another question: what is the best place to start online marketing in addition to having a website, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, or Instagram? I think this is a wonderful question, because see, the thing is, you have answered your own question in a way. The best way is, let me make it very clear, is become searchable. I would say I would share the 5 top ways of embarking on this creating an online identity is become searchable. The best way is to use the right keywords. For example, now you're talking about marketing. If you're a marketing person, then you need to use words like SEO, that is search engine optimization. And then again, if you're a marketing person, something like you use words like copy edit or copywriting, because these are the things that these people who are writing blogs, who are writing content, and they are trying to market their content, they use that. And yes, one best way to become searchable is to have an online resume. And the best online resume, the platform, is to have a LinkedIn profile, and not just a kind of a profile which is where you just put in your skill sets, but you also have keep adding value by having more engagements, more conversation. I'll come to that in a minute. So let me answer Divya's full question, the second part of it. Which are the other places where you can start online marketing? The one way you can do is Medium, if you have heard of that. They whenever you post articles on Medium, they pay you, as well as it's the best way of marketing yourself, because you are in a way, it's like being a global platform. There are people coming from different and mostly it is content, right? So you're getting visible, so you're creating your visibility and you're adding value over there, so you can earn and you can as well market your blog, and you can actually contact. There are a lot of freelance websites where they are looking out for content writers like you, blog writers, where you can monetize and you can actually earn money. Of course, the other ones that you mentioned, Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, they're all good, and you can actually build your content organically. I would say that start with making a lot of content organically instead of just going for paid ads and stuff like that. In the beginning, try to become more visible, become visible through your videos, through your articles. And there are like, for example, what I'm doing is I'm writing articles for Thrive Global, if you've heard of it. And then I'm also contributing to women's magazines, online magazines, and I have my own podcast. So these are ways where you can build your visibility as well as your target market. So the whole focus has to be on creating a niche. So your brand, because you are creating your identity, right? What is an identity? Let me tell you, it's nothing but your brand, and you are your brand. You are your brand. And then how do you create your own brand? By creating content which is actually resonating and which is in context with your whatever is your niche. So niching down is so very important. And this is the reason why I'm actually creating my online courses for women, focusing on helping them with creating their own niche. My programs are meant for women who want to find out what their niche is. It's not an easy thing. It took me 1 year to find my own niche. My target market was not the corporates anymore, because I was stuck in my mind. That is my experience. That has been my experience, and that has been my prior target market, where I used to go to the corporates and engage with leaders and then techies, and all such people now are no more my clients. My clients whom I resonate with is women, and women who are looking for these kinds of second careers, who are looking for work from home, or who want to become freedompreneurs. I am actually creating more and more freedompreneurs. Okay, so let me take the next question. The next question are, Hamida is asking, hi, what are the basic things and what are the important things to keep in mind while creating an online profile, or changes to be made for an already existing created profile? Thank you very much, Hamida. I mean, I think, yeah, you have hit the nail on the head by asking this question, because I'm going to actually focus more on, this is the most important kind of coming to the crux of, how do you create the identity. One is, of course, you start with become searchable, have those keywords as I gave you, use them, so that you become visible. The second is become open, have an open mindset, which is so important, because it's all a mindset game, not to get into the feelings of worthlessness and feeling that, oh my God, I had this kind of a big break, and how can I get back to work? So if you have that, get a coach, get a mentor, and work on those areas of, how you're feeling, right? Why do you feel like that? Because that's very important before you actually create the next steps. And then, of course, meeting other women, like you're already here now, that's a good thing. In forums and in platforms like Jobs for Her, you're meeting other women who are going through the same rigmarole that you are going through. So you get that kind of confidence back, because this whole thing is embarking on the journey with confidence, being bold, making a bold start. And that's what I mean by putting your best foot forward. If you have to put your best foot forward, you have to have that kind of an energy and the boldness, and you have to create it. Of course, it doesn't come naturally to any one of us, and we have to become confident. So it has to actually start with building your confidence. So for that, you need to be open to have an open mindset, and as well as meeting other women, like-minded women like you. Now, let me give an example. For example, there is a person who has to go for an interview. Let's call him, Mr. Ted or somebody, or Miss Ted. Now she says, oh, I'm so nervous, how can I go and face this interview? And then how can I actually go and talk about my career gaps? So in that case, what I would say is, don't worry, you have actually prepared everything, all about the company, and you're qualified for that position, and you've got a great outfit. So why are you worrying? So you don't have to do anything but put your best foot forward. I hope I answered your question, Hamida. So how can you actually, because see, she was asking me, how do you create an online profile? Before you create an online profile, what is your offline profile? Like, in the sense that, who are you as a brand? Because online, if you have to have an online identity, you have to have an offline identity as well, right? And what is that offline identity? You have to become confident. And how do you become confident? You have to actually work on your mindset, becoming open. And the next is, be active. Get active on social media, network, and make those pitches. It has to be subtle. Because nobody wants that kind of a, like how we used to have cold calls. People don't want to all the time listening to how you are in need of a job. But then always make a pitch about your skill sets, pitch about what you know, what are you an expert in, what is it that people would love to hear from you, get some knowledge from you. So have those connections, and then go for referrals also, because a lot of companies go for referrals, and then they give jobs for people who are being referred. So only when you have these kinds of connections online and build your identity, and that is when you're going to have, people are going to see you, notice you, and then refer you. So you need to have put the best foot forward by being active. And then the next is, become curious and inquisitive. So what I mean is, there could be a lot of incidents when the recruiters come towards you, and they would kind of make some kind of a offer, and it may not be of interest to you, or it may not be in your line, or but then if you're just curious enough to know what is the job all about, what is the market kind of payment for that kind of a role, what is the salaries in those levels, or that kind of a role, and then you become more curious. You never know, where your whole journey starts, kind of moving forward. And so become curious. And we have lost it, and somewhere down the line we have lost becoming curious, inquisitive, like when we were kids. So start becoming more curious about other kinds of roles, or if anybody knocks at the door, don't lose that opportunity. And then the fifth one is, be responsive. So what I mean by this is whenever there are in social media, people kind of don't make that kind of a proactive, they don't take a proactive stand and post things that they are interested in, or they don't, I mean, you don't post, or you don't even try to um, present yourself, as to who you are. And we just take a kind of a comfort, we are in a comfort zone, we just stay back and we expect things to roll on their own. It doesn't happen. So you need to become more responsive, get involved in discussions, or you start a discussion online and engage in conversations, which is when you become very visible. Like for me, I'm very active on LinkedIn, and I've got a global presence where people have, over a couple of years, as I said, because of all these transitions that I went through, the 4 or 5 years, I actually love LinkedIn because one is the credibility, and then one is the people who are really, having that kind of a background, and then you meet genuine, authentic people. So it's all about authenticity. So you need to have that authenticity for your profile. You can't fake it. People get to know who you are. So you better, start uh, uh, understanding that you are the brand. And so you have to define your brand, what your brand is. People just don't know who you are. So for example, I changed from being a coach. I always felt that I was a coach, and then I have these kinds of experience, and I always wanted to rely on that kind of it's very natural for us. But then I saw, I got certain compliments from my colleagues in LinkedIn and other people. You're a very good storyteller, and then I'm very good in videos, and then I have a very authentic presence, and then very recently also I'm a coach's coach. And so I really felt, I mean, sometimes we take a very we try to kind of what, I'm not getting the right word, but then we kind of downsize ourselves, and we don't actually give ourselves that kind of acknowledgement. So start acknowledging your own self, who you are, stand in your power. And so after that, I would suggest that you ask uh, people in your network to give a kind of feedback on the things that you impress them about, and just pick up 5 things that you feel are the brand attributes for yourself. It could be anything. It could be passion, it could be your persistence, or it could be your a demeanor, or it could be problem. You could be a problem solver, or you could be a coder, or you could be a finance authority. Whatever it is that people give you as feedback, so be open to that and ask the people whom you trust in your network, and then they would give you the feedback as to what you're good at, and how do you create an impression in their minds as to as to who you are, and create those 5 attributes and create a mission statement. And from there you can actually add that into your LinkedIn profile. You can add that into your resume when you go and meet your employers for an interview. And if you are wary about that and you can't do that, you can't ask those people in your network, then you have to rely on your performance appraisal report. And then based on that, you get the feedback, and then you have to find out, your brand attributes. Or else the other best way is ask yourself, what is it that you are actually love to do, or what do you value most, and then create that kind of a holistic resume, holistic profile. Let me go to the next question. uh, Hope I answered your question, Hamida. So how do you find people and how do you find the people and our interests on social media? Because if we look out or search for something that we don't get what we are looking for, in short, how to increase. Okay, this is another question that you asked. Okay, so the earlier question that you asked, I hope you got the answer. What are the basic things and important things to keep in mind while creating an online profile? I told you that, because see, people are looking for authenticity, for credibility, and for what you stand for. What is your message? So it could be a role as a finance specialist, or it could be as a coder or a developer, or it could be a content developer. But then what is it that you are good at? What do you love to do? So that should be, that message has to, that mission statement has to come out very clear. The next question Hamida again has asked is, how can a fresher look for a job, have a good network on social media apart from following our interest? Okay, good. How to find people and our interests on social media? Because if we look out or search for something, then we don't get what we look for. In short, how to increase our network of good people? Wonderful. Love your questions. Now, here I would say your network is your net worth. Now, looking out for people, because as she has rightly put it, it's not about us, right? I am answering your questions. It's not, I'm not trying to showcase what I know, my knowledge. It's about you. What you want is what I'm going to give you. So here she has rightly put, how can a fresher look for a job, have a good network on social media apart from following our interest? Yes, most of us get stuck in our own selves, what we are interested in. I was also there. As I told you, I felt that leadership, mindfulness, and mindful leadership is what I love to do. Yes, even now I have that interest. But then I have moved on. My target community is no more that corporate who are looking for that kind. Yes, women, when they want that, I'm going to give it to them. I can I can help women become leaders. I can help women with enhancing the leadership qualities and mindful leadership qualities. But then right now I am targeting women who want to discover their niche, get their message out clear, find their voice. I'm not talking about just voice in the sense that they are not empowered. Yes, we women are empowered, but it's about the mindset. How can I empower my mindset? How can I get my voice and get above the overwhelming information, overwhelming emotions and feelings? So that's my focus right now. Now, as you rightly said, how do you get out of your own zone, comfort zone, and look out for people? Hamida, you're asking me, and I hope I'm answering many women as well, that you are looking out for people and how can you add them to the network? Actually, I would say, yes, that is one way of doing it, but how about the other way of doing things? When you put your mission statement or your message out very clear, crystal clear, and start having conversations, either you start conversations and then you'll find like mind, because see, we're all energy bodies, right? And we actually are resonating, and then it's like you will definitely find the people whom you're resonating with. They will come. Like for my own case, I have a kind of 12,000 followers on LinkedIn. I hardly send any requests. In fact, I keep, sometimes, I don't add some people because I don't want to waste my time and on unnecessary looking at messages and all that. But sometimes, I feel, yeah, why not? I should not be close-minded as well. So I'm coming to your point, Amida, but what I'm trying to say is, when you start actually posting something, either it could be an article or it could be your experience, share your something about the industry that you are in, some trends that you feel are happening. You have to make some engaging conversations on these platforms. It could even be on Jobs for Her, and start here, because this is your learning ground. Start with Jobs for Her and then spread over to all other social media as well. As I said, one best professional platform to start having engaging conversations is LinkedIn, and then there could be other places as well. And when you start having these kinds of conversations, you actually grow out of that comfort zone and you start getting people who want to connect with you. It has to happen that way, and it will happen. Definitely it happens that way, because that's the easier way. How otherwise, how can you go to each profile, find out who is the right fit for you? It doesn't happen that way. Start with conversations, and you will definitely find the right people to network with. And I'll also add as I go, and I want to answer the other questions and also add some more stuff. So I'll come back to that, Hamida, because I want to kind of give it in a gist. So let me answer Vandana. And today, personal branding has become such a necessity to advance in one's career. Can you tell me what are the most influential platforms to create a profile? Thank you, Vandana, for asking that question. Definitely, personal branding is most important. And to answer that, I would give you 6 tips. How do you create your online presence, your online identity? Like Hamida said, your network is your net worth. Now, first of all, I would say start with your register for a domain in your name. It's like having your property, having a building or a flat or a independent house in a place like Bangalore or any part of India. It's like that, having your own property, a digital property online, having your own website. One needs to have that. And nowadays it's like not very expensive as well. So register a domain in your own name. It's very important for your online identity and your presence. Now, example, if your name is unique, probably you won't have problems. But suppose you have a problem, like, my own name, Jahnavi Katti. It was very easily available. I didn't have a problem at all. I created one. But then, if suppose there is a problem with the name which is common, then you have to use your brains a little bit and then come out with some kind of a unique thing that again resonates with you, your brand, and you can have a website. That was the first step. Like I have my own brand, which is called Story to Satori, STORY 2, numeric 2, SATORI, Satori. Now, why do you think I have this brand? It didn't happen. I think Hamida will understand now when I say that it was not I who went after that name. The name kind of came to me because I wanted to write a book. I was talking, having engaging conversations with people in a workshop, and suddenly I said, people told me you're a good storyteller. And I felt, because I'm a mindfulness practitioner, I wanted to write something on mindfulness as well, have a lot of things on mindfulness. So suddenly, I got this like an intuitive flash, that Story to Satori. So what it means is, Satori is a place of being uh, in wisdom, being in your light. It's actually enlightenment. It's a Buddhist term, but not necessarily spiritual enlightenment. It's like a wisdom, having wisdom, standing in touch with your own reality. Sometimes, we are out of touch of reality. The reality is that there is no fear at all. Everywhere, you go, you don't have to fear anything. But then we have certain fears because of our past stories, and the judgments, and then the assumptions, and also our own negative beliefs about our own selves, self-doubt. So when you have these kinds of self-doubt and these stories, it's not possible for you to see your own potential. So when you go to have when you have that satori, the moment of enlightenment or wisdom, you start seeing your own possibilities, your potential. So I'm writing a book on that, and hopefully come up with that soon. And that is how my brand got created. Now, to answer Vandana's question, it is so important, when you start having your own website and your own presence, that is when you are actually creating your personal brand. And that's become my personal brand. I use that hashtag Story to Satori in every post or in every social media that I use, because it resonates with me. It means it's actually my mission. I want to help out women to leave those stories, the assumptions, judgments, and stand in their own power, stand in their own light. So I hope I make sense. And then after you have, the first step was register your domain. And then the second is, and I'm also answering Hamida's question, have your own blog. How do you attract people? How do you create that identity? Have a blog, write blogs. And you can either integrate it with your website, or you can have an independent blog, and you can be your own kind of, it's a place where you express your thoughts, your feelings, write about the industry trends or your own expertise, and showcase your testimonials, the recommendations, and what is it that you are passionate about. And people will come and search, and they'll find who you are. So the employers want thought leaders, they want experts, they want problem solvers and solution providers. So they will actually see who you are, because everybody is now Google searching and trying to find out who you are, right? It makes sense. The third is online resume. As I already have shared, the best place to have it is LinkedIn, and where there is a lot of credibility, authenticity, and then you have, so don't make it a very static kind of just putting your resume there. Have conversations, have engagements. So people prefer self-marketers. So that means you have to keep marketing your own self. I mean, you have to sell yourself, and then showcase your talents, showcase your confidence, in fact, basically. And then the next is network online. So what it means is, if you are known, if you're pre-known, you're pre-trusted and pre-liked, you have followers. So then what happens is, when you actually go for an interview, or when you go for a one-on-one meeting, people already know who you are. So they are actually, you have created that bridge between your online and offline, so people already know before they meet you. And this becomes a kind of a, you're optimizing on that online identity. Why do you want to have online identity so much? Because finally you need to want to have a job or a business, that you need to have clients. So this is the reason why you want to have an online identity, right? So you need to optimize that. So that is the reason why you need to network. One is create an website, register for that, and then start your blog, and then network online. Have authentic, engaging conversations. That's what people are looking for. I mean, the genuine people. And keep it professional. So what it means is, why it is important to be professional. So because we have so many opinions, we have so much to share. And so never bring any of your political or your religious or moralistic views on the public domain. Keep it in your private social media, because anybody can watch, everybody is observing. And then, so make it professional, and don't badmouth, whether it's your colleague or your teammate or your employer, whoever it is. So that would create a very negative impact on your profile. The next is to track yourself. The best way to track yourself is, now what do I mean by tracking myself or yourself is, there are tools like Google Alert, where when you have that on your Gmail, what happens is, every time somebody's kind of typing your name, and the thing Google Alert pops up, whom is searching for you. And then you have this kind of a, you are actually not just creating, but you're maintaining a consistent, compelling, and positive message about who you are and what you are professionally. So keep that Google Alert on your other system. And let me ask the next question. Hope, Vandana, I could answer your question about personal branding. Now, Madhvi is asking, what are the various skills to showcase when it comes to online brand building? I think more or less I've answered that. So I would like to add, what are the various skills to showcase? So your skills could be the ones that you already have, the ones that you're developing, and the ones that you would like to develop. So you see, people want to see, your authentic side. So don't try to create some kind of a, you are not the Miss Perfect, or the, the person who knows it all. So instead, if you just say that, yeah, I had this kind of an experience and I was very good at these skill sets, but then I am keen to learn these skill sets and I'm learning these skill sets. So what happens is, when people know you are open to learning, that is when you would be given more weightage. So the type of skill sets, it all depends on the area that you are right now, because I do not know from what is your background, so I cannot give you a I cannot just suggest you offhand what skill sets, various skill sets. The skills that you, as I told, in your area, what is it? What is your area of expertise? Or what is it that you would love to learn? Maybe you were good in coding all these days. You got fed up of that kind of a, going 9 to 5 and then long hours. You're looking at something different. You want to become a content blogger. Then you can actually use those skill sets and start a website, have a blog, and talk about, actually you can use the coding skill sets and build your blogs for others, as to how they can actually learn coding, or where do they go to actually get these kinds of skill sets. So you could be the go-to person for helping people to learn the skill sets. So there are n number of ways you can be very creative, and there is nothing like this is a skill set which will land you a job or whatever. So right now you can actually add any and everything that comes to your mind. It has to be your own unique selling proposition, your USP. So not anybody else cannot tell you. It has to be your message, your voice, and your USP. which will create your online presence. And moving on, Indu is asking, I've always been an FB person. Insta somehow does not appeal to me in terms of personal branding, but the world is moving to Insta. You think I'd be at a loss if I'm not on this platform? Yes, Indu, I think I had the same notion about it. It's just a notion in your head. And for a long time, I avoided Insta. And I'm really sad I did it. Let me tell you, I moved to Insta around a year ago. And I think I'm a little late now. And I see what happens is I was also an FB person. See, what it means is there are different platforms for different usage, right? When you have LinkedIn, it's a purely professional, and where you talk about your background, your experience, your skill sets, and your USP, and why should people hire you, or people, you have engaging conversations about the industry trends and stuff like that. And when you come to Facebook, it's about you're putting sharing things about your family, your dog, or whatever it is, a holiday that you had, or the food that you cooked. So these are the things usually people showcase. But then, yes, there are people who also use Facebook for building their online presence purely for the business. That's also another thing. You can do that, and you can use it for sponsoring your ads and stuff like that. But having said that, Instagram is a place where you post your pictures, and a picture is 100 times powerful than a word, right? I mean, that is something like science. I mean, scientists are saying that. I mean, it's like a very common thing. We all know that we always see people first and then we hear them, right? Only I think 30% of what people are speaking is we are getting into the brain. The rest is all going above our heads, because we are so much, especially if it's a visual like this right now. Most of us are looking at the person who is talking, the body language, the gestures, and if that is all very effective, then everything goes more inside, or else you're just lost. You're not there, with that person. So again, coming back to Instagram, it's all about pictures. So you can post pictures about who you are with your motivational quotes, and then with the things that you are doing, the latest things that you're doing. So there are people who do look at Instagram a lot, and now it's trending. I mean, there's so much of trend over there. So you need not be that typical person who posts everything that you do on Instagram, but then you can always post the important things that you do and create your online presence. So I hope it makes sense, because it's really picking up. And then there's a lot of things that you could do with the IGTV, where it's just a 1 minute video and then you get noticed very fast. And this is picking up a lot, and there's so much happening. Even Amazon, Jeff because was also talking about this, creating a lot of impact through Instagram. And moving on, we have Sushma. What are the things one must keep in mind when building a brand on LinkedIn? I'm sure, Sushma, I was talking about LinkedIn a lot. And so LinkedIn is a place, a very professional platform where, good that you asked, it's a very powerful question. Take care that, keep in mind that it is not just for getting jobs. It's not, yeah, it is ideally for job seekers. It's the majority of ones who have the profiles. It's like a free online, you can keep your resume, and in a dynamic situation you can engage in conversations. You can look at all the jobs available, and then interact with the people who are in the companies that you are looking for, and also look out for the roles, as well as interact with many other professionals. It's a purely professional platform. But then the thing that you need to keep in mind is, it is, many people think that it is just meant for job seekers and it's only for getting a job. No, it's actually it's something more, different. It's like, you are having LinkedIn to have your presence, creating your presence, creating your having a digital footprint there, having a kind of presence, an identity, creating an identity. Because it may not directly fetch you a job, but then it will lead you to people, it will lead you to companies who can be helpful in giving you those jobs. So having said that, I'm sure, I mean, you're making some sense there, that don't use it just for job seeking jobs, but also have uh, more presence built over there. Create your presence by joining the right groups, having the online conversations, engaging, tagging people, and then building your profile. You need to build and maintain a positive, consistent, and compelling message over there as to who you are. If you are a brand strategist, or if you are a YouTuber, or if you are a data scientist, or if you are a finance expert, so that has to go into the minds of the people who are, looking at your posts. So have that consistency of your messages. Make them compelling. Use video, because people keep looking at videos more. They're very attractive, and then they catch your attention. And make them short, keep them brief as well, and concise. And also see that you participate in other people's conversations. When somebody tags you, or somebody has not tagged you as well, you can go and actually react to that conversation in a way that will add value to the conversation. So people will know, oh, Indu Sushma is a person who's coming from this background. She has got this view, she has this kind of opinion. So let me take another question that has come out. Suchika has joined. She's saying, I'm a Reiki master trainer who attunes online. I'm also an angel healing practitioner. I train people in chakra meditation too. How can I broaden my sphere with regard to advertising my skill and also spreading this knowledge? She's asked one more question. Want to connect with more people who are like-minded so that I would further my horizons. And now let me take a step by step. She's an angel healing practitioner. She trains people in Kara meditation. She's an holistic Reiki master trainer. So she's coming from a purely holistic background. And how can I broaden my sphere with regard to advertising my skill and also spreading this knowledge? So Suchika, I would say, this is a time when actually there is a dire need for mental health practitioners, mental health, experts like you, because the suicide rate is so high, and then there are people who are having a lot of stress. So there is a dearth of these practitioners, and people are really constantly looking out for people like you. So how do you broaden your sphere? By advertising my skill. I would say, instead of going for paid ads, you should organically build your community. You need to build a community where you have people who are looking out for such practices, who want to become healers themselves. Instead of just giving them a healing session, why not make them into a healer, right? Because I'm helping out, in fact, as I said, I want to help other women to become freedompreneurs. You're the right candidate. What I mean to say is, instead of just giving them a fish, teach them how to fish. That is, you actually help them to become healers. So you have to have a community of women or men, whoever is your target community, who want to learn from you and teach as well. That would be best way of building your presence online. And then go for the paid ads as you build your profile as well as your bandwidth, and then you earn good money. You can do that. And also the second thing is, want to connect with more people who are like-minded so that I would further my horizons. That's what, I mean, once you build your connections with the people who want this kind of a service, or who are looking out for having a second career, or there are women who just looking out for something to do, or maybe they want to heal themselves. So you can actually broaden your sphere with instead of doing it by paid methods, you can actually start with your organic building community. And I think, yeah, you can do that and start having conversations. What is it that they are finding their problems in? Use social media. If you're already in Facebook, if you're already on LinkedIn, or if you're already in Instagram, make them short and small conversations. Start a conversation that, what is it that you, instead of just telling them that I'm offering this, tell them, what is it that the problem that they are they are in, where they need help. And then you can actually this way build the community of people who want your healing, as well as people who want to become a healer. So you can have two different communities, and this way you can actually then spread out your wings to becoming a more going in for paid advertisements. So I hope I could answer, and I'm not seeing any more questions. But then, so finally, I would like to say that to put your best foot forward, you need to actually know what you want. What is it that you identify yourself with? What's your brand identity? Get that very clear. Get your niche very clear. What is it that you want? Get your message out clear. Get your voice out clear. And once you have this in place, what do you love to do? What do you value? And what is your strength? And that is when you are going to actually create your brand identity, and you're going to put your best foot forward. So thank you so much. It's almost 1 hour, and I would love to go on. So I would like to welcome you to visit my page on Jobs for Her. I'm a mentor on Jobs for Her, and you can always leave your questions, and I would love to answer them. And also, so we have one more last question from Hamida. Definitely, I'll answer that. Till I get that question, I'm going to just go on and say that I would love to connect with you on my mentor profile. Please leave those questions, and I will definitely connect with you. And if you want to connect on one-on-one, you can send me the message as well. And apart from that, yes, as I said, I'm helping out women to become freedompreneurs. You can always connect on my social media profiles, which are already there on my mentor profile. So I'm waiting for the last question from Hamida, yet to get that. So to sum it up, I would say, go for it, and get out of that zone of feeling that you need to listen to somebody else's opinions, or somebody else's what they think about you. It's about you, what you think about you, that is most important. Who are you? Who do you want to be? And instead of what you have done and what kind of things that you have achieved, what would you like to achieve? Be futuristic, have a vision in place, have a very clear vision in place, so that your goals become aligned to the vision and your mission. And I talked a lot about how to create your mission statement, right? So the last question is, Hamida is asking, I heard you talking about blogging from a very long time. I wish to be a blogger, as I had views and thoughts on many topics and would like to put forth and get my words to people and give them the scenario of it. But I have pushed it back. Wow. So that's a wonderful thing, Hamida. Let's connect on the mentor profile, and I'm sure I can help you out. And I think, yeah, so it's a good thing, if you have that kind of a penchant to blog, to express, to write, go for it. Don't stop yourself. And you can always fill these gaps, if you're waiting for a job. So just instead of just sitting idle and then thinking, getting pressured, getting stressed out, you can actually start, as I told, register a domain and start a blog and all that. So Hamida, it's a great start. I think, yeah, put your best foot forward, go for it. And a lot of things you have on your mind, a lot of things, as you said, I got many things to share, many views and thoughts. So people are looking for bloggers, they're looking for people like you who are expressing your thoughts, your ideas. And then in that gap you get clear. When you start writing, writing is a tool which you can use to get clear as well. So in the transition that you all ladies are, and you all are professionals, right? You're coming from various backgrounds, so you have your own expertise, you have your skill sets, you have your passion areas. So you can actually, when you start writing, you get clear about what is it that you really want to do as well, and then you can actually create your own niche, you can create your own target community, and you can actually create, I would say, the job that you are looking for. So that is how you keep your best foot forward. So on this note, thank you so much for being on this expert chat, and I thank all of you for being here. And any other questions, please post on my profile and I'll get back to you. Hope I could answer all your questions and to actually fulfill your needs. And thank you. I'd like to connect with you offline and online as well. Thank you.